All right.
What's up, Huckleberries? How are we
What's
doing?
going on? How we doing today? Happy Thursday, March 12th. And welcome to the Gary Williams Stole My Lawn Furniture program. We're minus one farm animal today, but that's all right. We got two more. And our namesakes are our favorite non-Ravens of years past. I don't know if it's our favorites, but, you know, T.O., big thing back in the day. We thought he was coming to the Ravens, and he didn't end up there. Michael Brockers, same thing. And there's a couple other guys. Ryan Grant comes to mind. Derek Wolfe comes to mind. But we have these monikers as our namesakes.
Derek Wolfe.
For a pretty obvious reason here. The Maxx Crosby trade that we were so joyously talking about on Tuesday's pod has been canceled. Lunch has been canceled due to lack of hustle. Deal with it. Yeah. Really unfortunate, really shocking, and really upset when I found out. I was at work the other night and it flashed across the bottom, breaking news. Maxx Crosby trade has been rescinded by the Ravens. And then I went on Twitter and there was a whole media storm, a bunch of different angles from a bunch of different people. And before we get into all of the, potentially nefarious things that people are saying that the Ravens did or didn't do, let's just talk about the player. We end up with Trey Hendrickson, so it's a happy ending. We didn't know that at the time of the trade, but we had a pretty good idea that may be happening. Sorry, as I'm going to have to go solo and filibuster here for a sec. But yeah, it's just really it was really frustrating. But Maxx Crosby is a guy who plays every down, a guy who gets doubled constantly, a guy who's not just in on pass rush situations, who's also very good at defending the run. When you look at the numbers, he had, I think, almost double, if not double, the amount of tackles for loss that Trey Hendrickson had over the course of the last 7 seasons, which is the length of the time that Maxx Crosby has been in the NFL. So a much better run stuffer as opposed to just a pure pass rusher that we were going to get in Hendrickson. Also has way more tackles. It's a lot of people are saying, hey, look, we get our first round picks back. We get the edge rusher we wanted anyway. I would pump the brakes there a little bit because Maxx Crosby is one of the 3 or 4 best edge rushers in the league. And Trey Hendrickson is 31 years old, which is how old Maxx Crosby would have been in his age 27 season. And he's coming off a season-ending surgery. So we don't know how that's going to work. And that was a core muscle issue. So that's that's something you're going to be using every down. So anyway, it's frustrating for me as a Ravens fan. I know a lot of Ravens fans are taking this as a positive, but I think we are a worse team now than we were a few days ago having Maxx Crosby. That being said, we don't really know what the prognosis was. The Ravens did not feel comfortable with the physical. Clearly, they feel comfortable with the Trey Hendrickson stuff, although I don't know if the physical has been passed there yet. We're not sure. But anyway, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff to unpack. What do you want to talk about, Brooks? Do you want to talk about the player? I kind of outline that a little bit, or do you want to talk about potentially the reports that the Ravens kind of had bad motives here? And what are your thoughts on that? I don't know. Take it wherever you want.
I would say so. Yeah, it sucks because I agree with everything you said, and you went into it a little bit about at the end of Crosby's career, he's going to be the same age as Hendrickson is now. He's better at both pass rush and run stopping. Yeah. We had an opt-out after 2 years. Is the same contract just about in terms of money. We had an opt-out where we could, if something happened, get out of it. So that's the one thing I'm a little upset about. It's like if we were upset or if there was something going on in that physical that made you think that like, okay, if we're going to invest in this guy for 4 years and we're worried he's not going to make it to 4 years because of something that's going on that, then we had the opt out after 2 and not take a cap hit on it. So that bothers me a little bit. But again, we don't know what happened in that room. We don't know what's going on.
We don't know the details of the Hendrickson contract yet either. We don't know if this could be one of those 4 years, $100 million deals that has $60 million guaranteed. That could just really be a 2-year, $60 million deal. We don't know how the money is allocated yet. So once we find that out, maybe we'll have a little bit more clarity here. So I just wanted to point that out anyway. Keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And it's just, yeah, it's frustrating. But and a lot of people are saying, oh, we ruined our image with a lot of other people in the league. I don't give a fuck about that. I think people know the Ravens well enough, and I've worked with the Ravens enough to know that we're a stand-up organization, and whatever happened was for the best of the franchise. It's rare that you have the Raiders coming out smelling like roses out of something in recent history. So, but yeah, I'm disappointed, upset. It would have been really cool that Trey Hendrickson and Maxx Crosby could have been on the same defensive line. It sounds like it was sold to Hendrickson that way. Who knows if that's true or not? But yeah, it sucks. Maybe something else came in to where they're getting close on a deal that they need those first round picks for. I don't know. Did they get cold feet and saw everybody not taking the offers that they sent out to their guys to resign, and people go elsewhere? Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say. And again, they're never going to share what happened in the physical because, I mean, that would be a HIPAA violation. And Crosby is obviously not going to come out and say anything. Neither is his agent. So, yeah, so one thing I did want to bring up, I think it's kind of funny that people go to the team doctor for the Cowboys to get either second opinions or surgeries done on their knee. I know he's like the top of the top, but that just kind of feels shady. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Feels like something shady could happen there.
The first thing I saw yesterday when I woke up was the news. I woke up basically around 9:00. I think it was the news had just broken maybe 10 minutes before about Trey Hendrickson joining the Ravens. And my first thought was, okay, this is what everybody was saying on Twitter last night. This is a very, very shady thing for the Ravens to do. And I still kind of feel like they're not telling us the whole truth. I think the thing, like you just mentioned about potentially having Crosby and Hendrickson both playing on the team, I don't think that was ever even in question. I don't think that was ever going to happen. I think that's kind of the Ravens spinning this in their favor. I don't know that. There's no way I can know that. I just think it's kind of bullshit, honestly. I don't know why the Ravens allowed the Raiders to get out ahead of them with the social media post, or basically letting it be known that the first thing that was said about the trade was that the Ravens basically pulled out. So all the negative PR immediately goes to the Ravens. And I think yesterday was a little bit more about trying to save face, in my opinion. I don't know. We've never traded 2 first-round picks in the history of our organization for one player. The history of the NFL says that, trading 2 first-round picks for a player usually doesn't really go all that well. I think Khalil Mack was probably one of the bigger successes with Chicago. And again, that didn't bring them a championship. Maybe you can say Matthew Stafford, but, Goff is in that trade as well. So that's a part of it that you're going to have to discuss. But straight up two first-rounders for a player, it's just the history of it is usually it doesn't work out well for the team trading for that player. And so maybe I'm a little bit less upset than I was yesterday. I still think that we're not as good. I think the player is a little bit older. He's a little bit worse. He plays a little bit less. He's a little bit less consistent. And, I just I don't know. I'm struggling. I'm struggling with this. I was super mega negative Ravens fan yesterday, and I'm usually leaning on the side of positive. Like, hey, trust this organization. We've been good for a long time. And yesterday, I don't know. I kind of soured on it a little bit. It felt to me like we got cold feet. The more information that comes out, maybe it's seeming like that a little bit less. But it's frustrating because I just once again I think Maxx Crosby is one of those guys that's just a stud. I think that if his medicals are an issue moving forward, I mean, we're going to find out, and maybe it's one of those things where like, hey, they think, hey, maybe this knee can hold up for a couple of years and then we can get out from this contract. But do we want to trade for two first rounders if it's just going to be 2 years and then a bunch of unknown? And there was a lot of talk yesterday that the Ravens potentially tried to renegotiate after they saw the scans and maybe go from 2 firsts to maybe a first and some other compensation, a first and a third or a first and a fourth, something like that. And the Raiders were just like, no, fuck that. You already agreed to 2 firsts. And the Ravens were like, well, no, fuck you, because we're not going to trade 2 first rounders for a guy that we don't like the medical on. So I don't know. There's just a lot of moving parts here.
And I mean, maybe the Raiders weren't as forthcoming as about something. I mean, there's a whole lot here that we just don't know. Yeah. And probably we'll never know. But this story's not going anywhere. It's not like the Ravens can get investigated for this because technically they didn't do anything wrong. It's just bad optics at this point. And it sucks. I mean, but you have to, if that's what the doctors actually said, I mean, you kind of gotta roll with it. It'd be hard not to.
I mean, either way, look, it's Trey Hendrickson's in Baltimore. We're gonna be rooting for Trey Hendrickson to be successful in Baltimore. I personally think Maxx Crosby is a better player, but time will tell. Maybe, I mean, in years past when we didn't sign Michael Brockers or we didn't sign Ryan Grant to those 4-year deals, both of those guys were out of the league in less than 2 seasons afterwards. So that's doing your due diligence on a guy, and maybe this will be the same, and I hope not, for Maxx Crosby's sake and for football fans' sake, because Maxx Crosby's awesome and he's a fun player to watch, and his story is incredible, getting sober and how dedicated he is to his craft. He's just a guy that I would have loved. But I would have loved having that kind of guy in our locker room, and that kind of mentality in our locker room. But we pivoted. We basically give the exact same contract, it seems, to Trey Hendrickson. We'll see if we're able to get out of it after 2 years, like we would have been with the Crosby deal. And I'm sure they probably structured it that way based on his age, being 31 and going to be close to 32 when the season starts. So yeah, we do get a pass rusher to add to our team, but I don't know. I'm still sour. I'm pretty sour about this whole situation, if you can't tell. So trying to be realistic, but
yeah, I mean, you don't know who's right and who's wrong. Like, there's a very good chance that you just pissed off Maxx Crosby and he goes out and dominates next year, which I fully expect him to do and hope he does. But if I'm the Bengals, I'm saying I'll give you 2 first rounders so he gets to play against the Ravens now twice a year and be pissed at him. I mean, that's my thought process. If I'm on the Bengals, I don't know what their draft capital and everything like that looks like, but yeah, it sucks, but hopefully it's the right decision. I mean, at this point we have to trust it, but
yeah,
doesn't mean we can't be disappointed.
All we can do at this point is trust the organization, which is, for a really long time, we've been one of the best organizations in the NFL. And I don't know, there's been a lot of chatter about in the last couple of years about EDC. Similarly, there's been a lot of chatter about Mike Elias on the Orioles side of things. And I think that is incredibly unfounded. And for the most part, I think the EDC stuff is pretty unfounded as well. But, you give up 2 first-round picks, that's like everyone's like, oh, we get our first-round pick back. It's just like, yeah, but we got number 14 in a draft that's, not exactly riddled with talent, and our biggest glaring need is offensive line, and there's no good offensive linemen in this class. So I don't know. It's annoying, and also I want to, like, the swinging doors of free agency are so different because the Cowboys pivot off the Crosby deal because we outbid them. And go to Rashawn Gary, and apparently now it's come out that the Cowboys had bad medical had a bad medical report on Maxx Crosby as well, and now it seems Maxx Crosby tweeted earlier, or put on his Instagram or whatever he did. I don't know, some sort of social media. He said, everything happens for a reason. Believe nothing you hear and half of what you see. I'm a Raider. I'm back. Run that shit is what he tweeted. I mean, for all intents and purposes, that to me, that means Maxx Crosby is going to be a Raider this upcoming season. And does that mean that no team is going to offer those 2 first-round picks for him? And do they spend all that money in free agency the day before if they think Maxx Crosby is going to be a Raider? No, they probably don't. So I think it swings a lot of doors a lot of different ways. I think Rashawn Gary could have been on a different team. I think Linderbaum could have potentially ended up back with the Ravens. The reports are we offered Linderbaum 4 years, $88 million, which would have been $4 million above what Creed Humphrey got last year per year annually. So and more money overall than he got from the Raiders. But that one last year gives you more flexibility. You can hit free agency one more time before you turn 30 if you're Tyler Linderbaum. So I don't know. It's a lot of moving parts. I think a lot of this free agency could have looked a little bit different if this trade didn't happen and then fall through after the first day frenzy.
Yeah, it would be some shit if the Cowboys ended up trading for him after all that. Like in this situation, this is what I'm talking about. Like if you put, I mean, obviously we're the ones going out for second opinions and stuff like that. So it sounds like we did do our due diligence and it wasn't just our medical staff. They went outside the building. But like, could you imagine like if not just Maxx Crosby, if something like this happens with any other player and the Cowboys guy is involved and then the Cowboys end up trading for him or getting him or something like that. I mean, then that just snowballs. That'd be a rough look. Yeah.
I got into a big argument yesterday on one of my group chats with one of my buddies, and he was all like, fuck everybody else. Who cares about the optics? And I totally understand that part of it. And honestly, that's not really the point I'm trying to drive home, is not the optics on the organization, which I still think is, I still think it's probably going to take a hit a little bit. I still think that teams are going to be less likely to talk to us, and maybe they won't. Who knows? But I mean, the bottom line is here that we have a player that I don't think is as good as the one that we had originally traded for. And people are like, well, would you trade Trey Hendrickson and 2 first-round picks for Maxx Crosby? Well, that's not what fucking happened. And by the way, yes, I would. If Maxx Crosby is passing his physical and is healthy, yes, I would, because he does twice as much on that side of the ball, and he's 4 years younger. And he's on the same contract. I don't know. But
I also don't.
Maybe I'm alone on that thought. So
I also don't care about the optics either. You're doing what you think is best for the Ravens organization. And it's not like this is something that we always do. So it had to be something pretty glaring. So I don't know. It shouldn't stop anybody from working to deal with us. And to be honest with you, everybody goes like you got to go get a physical and pass it and feel comfortable with what you have, especially like I know team doctors and teams exchange medical records and information and stuff like that. If you get something back that's not lining up with what you thought, then I mean, how can you blame them? Again, it sucks, but hopefully that's what happened and there's no nefarious stuff going on.
Yeah.
But
if there is, like you said before, we won't figure it out.
We'll never know. Unless the Raiders come out and that's still going to be like here's what we think kind of a deal. That's not going to be anything. That's, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I just like, look, there's a history of this working and there's a history of this not. The history of this working is, like I said earlier, Michael Brockers, Ryan Grant, both those guys, we signed a 4-year deals. We do the physical, they don't pass. And then 2 years later, they're out of the league. And we look a little bit smarter. But there's also the other side of things where in the early 2000s, the Miami Dolphins did a physical with Drew Brees after signing him and failed him. They said, we don't like this. We don't like the look of his shoulder. And a lot of teams were saying that too. And then Drew Brees
with the Chargers.
12, 13, 14 years later, Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer, one of the best quarterbacks of all time. And then what happened with Miami? They signed Dante Culpepper and his career fell off a fucking cliff. And the Miami's been in shambles ever since. So it's if I'm betting on anything, I'm betting on Maxx Crosby coming back and lighting a fire under his ass and him being a fucking maniac this year. But I mean, I'm not going to be rooting actively against Hendrickson. Obviously, he's a part of our team now, and I'm going to root for him just the same. And I hope he's successful. It's just, I've said it enough. I'm beating a dead horse, so we'll get past it. But that's basically my thoughts on the deal. If you have any, or on that particular situation, if you have any other thoughts, let's get them out, and then we'll just move on to some other moves that have been happening around the league. You got anything else? Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it for me as well. Yeah. So yes,
dead horse at this point.
Yeah. While we're talking about the Ravens, we'll continue to talk about some of the other moves that have happened. We talked about last episode on Tuesday, a couple of the guys that we have lost in free agency. We lost both of our backup tight ends, Isaiah Likely and Charlie Kolar. We lost Tyler Linderbaum. A couple other guys, the punter, and a couple of safeties have gone elsewhere. Yesterday, we signed a safety formerly of the Patriots. His name is Jalen Hawkins. Am I correct there? I think that's his name, Jalen Hawkins. The third safety behind Malachi Starks, who was the first rounder last year, and Kyle Hamilton, who's the best safety in the league, in my opinion, which is a good depth piece. People in New England were saying that they were really, really upset about him going. Once again, this is not a huge deal, but those depth pieces really do help.
I will say that Kyle Hamilton was a 14th overall pick.
Kyle Hamilton was a 14th overall.
There is some room to get something with that pick, but yeah. I mean, you heard me Tuesday. Fuck those picks if you're getting Maxx Crosby.
100%. Totally agree. Ravens have officially released Cooper Rush as of 4 hours ago, according to Tom Pelissero and Jamison Hensley. This because we are planning on re-signing or have already re-signed Tyler Huntley to be the backup, which makes just so much more sense. And honestly, I don't really understand why they didn't have that as the plan the last few years. We also lost Keaton Mitchell this morning. He has signed with the the Los Angeles Chargers.
Los Angeles Ravens.
The Los Angeles Ravens, Ravens West. We also have Ravens North now in New York. So all kinds of stuff going on there. We lose Draymond Jones. He signs with New England. And a couple other guys that probably aren't as Pancake Pat went to Ravens North, which is unfortunate for us. But we signed yesterday Durham Smythe, who's a blocking tight end for the Bears, which is nice. I think our offensive coordinator has worked with him in Chicago. Yeah. And then who else did we get? We got somebody else. John Simpson, the offensive lineman, and there was one other guy. I can't remember. It was mostly depth stuff. Chidobe Awuzie re-signed. That's what I'm looking for.
Big move, actually. I did not think we were going to get him back.
Yeah, and there was a funny exchange on Twitter. I think somebody mistakenly put 1 year $5 contract instead of $5 million contract, and he actually responded on Twitter, just enough for a hot and spicy McChicken. Yeah. And when he signed up to sign his contract today, they had McDonald's sitting on the desk where the contract was, which I love. That's pretty funny. That's pretty good stuff there. So yeah, that's what we have. The remaining unrestricted free agents that the Ravens will have right now are Kyle Van Noy, DeAndre Hopkins, Faalele, Tylan Wallace, Joe Noteboom, and David Ojabo. Van Noy getting older, but still productive, still a leader in the clubhouse. We'd really like to have him back.
Yeah, I'm wondering how that's going to go.
I loved the D-Hop experiment last year. I wasn't exactly ecstatic when we signed him. Because he's a little bit older, but I'd love to have him back. I mean, he's as advertised. That dude catches fucking everything. Everything.
I don't think we necessarily used him in the right way either. So I mean, I think there's room.
Could have gotten more out of him. Yeah,
I think there's room to. I mean, the deal we signed him to was great too. So that'd be awesome if we can make that work.
Yeah. Randy is our resident Raiders fan. It just looks bad. That's all it's ever going to be. Hopefully it works out for everyone. Yeah, I think if you get out of the Ravens bubble here a little bit and you look at the opinions around the league and the way people are talking about this, the way that all of the national sports media has been covering it is kind of that, at least it's been put out there that the Ravens have potentially did a little bit of snakish stuff here. And, we don't know. And there's some other people who are arguing, fuck that. If they didn't like the medicals, then don't proceed that way. And I see both sides of it. So you guys, once again, we know we're going to be done with this, We're going to be talking about this ad nauseum for like the next 6 months. So I'm just trying to prepare myself for that mentally, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, any other really, really big moves in the NFL that have happened since the other day that we have not talked about as of yet? I'm
sure there is, because this has been nuts.
Yeah. Aaron Jones restructures, the Oway stuff we already knew about. Romeo Doubs, I believe, happened after our pod last week, and so did Daniel Jones. Let's talk about those two things. Romeo Doubs first gets a 4-year, $70 million deal with the New England Patriots, and a really, really weak free agency for NFL receiving. I would say Alec Pierce getting $114 million kind of tells you the tale of free agency for the NFL this year. Everybody is looking for that, that explosive wideout, and it just wasn't on the market this year, at least not in free agency. Maybe in trades you'll be able to find some more guys, but not a lot of really top-end receiving talent. Romeo Doubs, a guy who I think is, probably a decent number 2. Definitely not a number 1. You're paying him 4 years, 70, so 15, 20 million a year. That makes sense to me. It makes a hell of a lot more sense than the Alec Pierce contract to me. But if you're the Patriots, you want to go out and get Drake May, a legitimate number 1 weapon, and I just don't think they have it. Kayshon Boutte is not that. Romeo Doubs, I don't think is that. They lose Stephon Diggs, who they cut because of salary cap reasons. I understand that. I don't know. I feel like if you're a Patriots fan, you probably, leave this deal wanting a little bit more. But, I mean, what are the Patriots going to do? There's not really anything out there.
Oh, they brought in Byard, too.
Kevin Byard?
Yeah.
Yeah, he
had a nice season last year. I mean, I know he's getting older. He still had a nice season with the Colts last year.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on Doubs? Do you agree with me? Just kind of a number 2, like, I mean, he could be a number 2, number 3.
Yeah.
Right. And the Packers are just locked in with like 100 number 2s. They don't have any number 1s.
Yeah. And I mean, Boutte was good last year. So, I mean, and I don't even know who is going to be like their number 2 and number 3s after that, really.
Mac Hollins.
That's what I mean. Like, I think this is
replaceable level players, right? Yeah, it's an upgrade. You're right. It's an upgrade, so maybe I should be a little bit more bullish. But
if you find him, Joe, let us know.
Yeah, he's off the grid. That's okay though. All right, let's pivot over to the Daniel Jones contract. The Indianapolis Colts gave Daniel Jones a 2-year, $80 million contract, which could be worth up to $100 million. It is the richest 2-year deal in the history of football. So that basically means that the Colts paid over $200 million for Alec Pierce and Daniel Jones. I would say just if somebody, if you pick somebody off of a new planet and they never watched football before and they went out and watched that season, they would be like, what the fuck? They paid $200 million to those two guys. What the fuck's going on? I don't know. I don't get it. I don't think Daniel Jones is good. I know he was really successful with them in the early part of last year. They fell off a cliff after he got hurt, but
he's not going to play this year for a little while either.
Yeah. I don't understand it. If I'm a Colts fan, I'm absolutely furious. Since Andrew Luck retired, they have been doing this revolving door of aging quarterbacks, bad quarterbacks, whatever you want to say. I mean, Matt Ryan, Phil Rivers, Jacoby Brissett, Carson Wentz, now Daniel Jones. At least with Anthony Richardson, they took a shot. Did they hit it? No, but they took a shot. I would like to see them kind of reset and take another shot as opposed to bringing in Daniel Jones, who we've seen over the course of his 6-7 year NFL career be incredibly inconsistent. And also he's coming off an Achilles, and we've seen over the course of the last few seasons specifically, quarterbacks coming off Achilles do not play well, especially early. It takes a while to get back acclimated to the game. And Daniel Jones is a guy it's a guy that relies on his athleticism more than you would think. I mean, he's a guy who runs around quite a bit. I don't see this working. I think the Colts are going to be really bad this year.
He's coming off Achilles and a broken leg at the same time.
I don't know. I don't
think the broken leg is that big a deal because he was obviously playing on it when it was a stress fracture or whatever. So it was good enough to get him out there to play again. But yeah, I agree with you.
I don't like it. And look, he's blacklisted from my fantasy squad. Steve
Romeo
Preston,
Doubs.
for a guy that's never on the field. He's talking about Romeo Doubs. Yeah. Talking about fantasy squads, Romeo Doubs and Alec Pierce have been at the top of fantasy waivers for the last 2 years, and they're the hottest free agent receivers in the NFL. If at any point you had a fantasy team in the last 2 years, almost every single week, those were the two guys at the very top, and they were projected like 7.9 points, and you just had to get lucky and get the week that they scored a touchdown.
Alec Pierce put up over 1,000 yards, but 1,000 yards with 6 touchdowns because he's never going to be. Yeah. I mean, maybe. I mean, he's going to
get more opportunities now that Pittman's gone. That's for sure.
Yeah. One thing that just happened in Philly, the Eagles and 3-time Pro Bowl guard Landon Dickerson have agreed to a revised 2-year contract at $36 million. He previously was due $39 million in 26 and 27, but can hit that in 27 with incentives. So they freed up a little cap space.
Freed up a little cap space, locked down your guy for a little bit longer, right? Similarly, just happened a couple hours ago in Cincinnati. Orlando Brown, former Raven great, signed a 2-year extension with the Bengals to keep him locked in there for a couple extra years. He actually negotiated that deal himself, so he's not going to be paying that to an agent. Good for him. Former Raven great, guy who probably would still be on the Ravens if he just wanted to play right tackle, but he didn't. So there's that. And then Cleveland Browns signed both Elton Jenkins and Tevin Jenkins, I believe, to their offensive line in this offseason to bolster up that O-line. And I was looking at they came out with the NFL over-unders for win totals this year. The Browns is 6.5. You think the Browns are going to win 7 games this year? With Todd Monken and Deshaun Watson or whoever the fuck playing quarterback for him? I mean, what? No, they're not going to win. Go hammer the under right now. Slam it. Take the alternates. Take 3.5 under. I mean, they're not going to win 7 games. Are you fucking kidding me? No shot. Anyway, sorry, I had to get that little rant out of there, but I don't know. I just think that's I thought that was a pretty crazy move. The Geno Smith thing. Geno Smith is back on the Jets after I think 13 years since they drafted him, something like that. I think they drafted him in like 2013, around then. But I mean, look, they're going to put him behind that terrible Jets offensive line that they had last year. I know Geno led the Seahawks to Sam Darnold. I know Geno has now led the Raiders to Fernando Mendoza. Maybe Geno will lead the Jets to Arch Manning. Who knows? But for me, this looks like Aaron Glenn's job is on the fucking line. And if I'm Aaron Glenn, I'm starting to prepare for my 2027 defensive coordinator interviews now. Because I do not think that this is going to be a successful franchise. They got 2 first-round picks this year and 3 next year, so maybe they'll give him a little bit of time. But he feels like a dead man walking, and I don't really know. I don't really know what the Jets are doing. I guess maybe they're just going to tank this and hope for the best next year because they're not taking a quarterback this year, right?
I wouldn't think so because apparently it's pretty slim pickings after Fernando. So
yeah, the kid from Bama, Simpson. People are like kind of up and down on him. I think he might go in the first round just because. But that's going to be maybe a team trading up at the end of the first round and taking a swing, trying to get that 5th-year option, see if it works out. I don't know. I just for this to me, this just seems like the Jets are just tanking one more season and. That's pretty much been the story of the franchise most of my life, other than those 2 Sanchez years that they went back-to-back AFC championship games. Pretty crazy. Didn't win either of them. Dusty Betts, hammer the under. Yeah, Dusty Betts for sheriff. Gino, everybody goes to Gino's. Yeah, we just talked
Not
about
Gyno.
that. not Gyno, Gino. And then if anything else breaks during the pod, we'll bring it up. I don't think there's been any other like huge moves. I can't think of any off the top of my head, and I've been kind of searching around the internet for stuff that we potentially missed. It seems like we're in the clear here. We talked about most of the stuff, but if we forgot about anything, guys, let us know. In terms of the free agent stuff, there were a couple trades. The Dallas Cowboys sent Solomon Thomas to the Titans. He rekindles his relationship, I guess, there with Robert Saleh, who used to coach him in San Francisco for a long time. Speaking of San Francisco, the Cowboys also traded Osa Odigizua. I think I pronounced that right. You're welcome.
What?
Osa Odigizua to the San Francisco Niners for a third-round pick. That guy was a stud. I watch a lot of Cowboys because my best friend is a Cowboys fan. And that guy pops off the TV. He's a D tackle, really, really good at stopping the run. That's a good pickup for San Francisco there. And for me, that's Dallas just trying to do anything more that they can to get under the cap to make maybe one more big swing before the draft. And, we'll see. Jerry's always going to go for it because he's getting up there in age, and he's been very open about the fact that he wants to see this team succeed one more time before he calls it a day. So, they're going to be always going for it. Trading Odigizua, I don't really love it because I think he's really good, but they have Kenny Clark. They have Rashawn Gary, who can play both inside and out. He's a versatile guy.
Gunner likes Legos. Just the most random thing ever.
Man, I would have pegged him more of a Lincoln Log guy, but I guess he's a Lego man. You think he's ever been to Lego Land? We have.
Probably.
What?
If I had to guess.
You think he's been to Lego Land? I doubt it.
When he plays in LA?
I don't know, man.
They go and buy Legos up in New York from the Lego shop up there.
Yeah, but it's not an amusement park. All right, anyway. Not really much else in terms of trades that we have to talk about. The Browns are cutting Tyler Conklin, offensive tackle, after 6 years. Or sorry, Jack Conklin, not Tyler Conklin. We were talking about Tyler Conklin the other day. But yeah, he's made 57 starts in his career at left tackle. That could be a guy that maybe we could slide inside, or maybe a guy that we could bring in as a depth piece. I'm talking about the Ravens specifically because we need O-line help. And I don't care if we have two tackles already. We need as much help as we can get. Bring in everybody. Because we're going to need somebody to keep Lamar Jackson upright. What we also forgot to mention is that Lamar Jackson has renegotiated his contract and created over $40 million in cap space for the Ravens this year, 30 of which they have spent on Trey Hendrickson, assuming that his cap hit is massive in year one. I don't know if they front-loaded the contract or not. Spotrac has not upgraded, so I don't really know if it's going to affect us this year or not. I've been trying to get information on this, and it's just not available yet. So maybe I guess we have to wait till he passes the physical before the contract kicks in there. Bradley Chubb also got a 3-year deal with the Bills for almost $60 million as a pass rusher. So they clear that hole. I think that Joey Bosa is leaving open there. I believe Joey Bosa is still an unrestricted free agent. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on in football. It is not football season, but stuff we have to talk about regardless because, it's what's in the news right now, I guess, so to speak. Do you want to move on to baseball?
Sure.
What do you think about Mark DeRosa? What did you think about him yesterday morning? And what do you think about him this morning? Do you have different feelings? Are you a little bit less angry at him today than you were yesterday? Or what's up?
Mark DeRosa is Team Italy a bar tab here coming soon. Could he have misspoke? Possibly. There was a ton of different scenarios that could have played out. but saying that on the air and then going into the game with how everything played out, and it was bad. That was bad.
Yeah,
That was
really,
that.
really
If
bad.
they did not get
Speaking
in,
of bad optics,
if Italy didn't get them in, that would have been one of the more, probably would have been the most embarrassing USA baseball loss of all time.
Yeah. Shout out to Team Italy, by the way. They kicked our fucking ass the other night, and they kicked Mexico's ass last night, and they've got a lot of swag. And they've got the Pasquatch, who hit 3 homers last night in that game when we really needed it. I love that they put a mic in front of him after the game, and he was like, "I'm beamed up right now. I'm all kinds of caffeinated. You guys are welcome, U.S." Something like that. He said something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing, but it was fucking hilarious. But yeah, back to Mark DeRosa. Yeah, I mean, you can't help but make it look bad. Every sports media outlet picked it up. Everybody was talking about it, and it makes him look a lot less knowledgeable. And it makes me look a little bit less knowledgeable because he's the guy I thought that the Orioles should hire as their new head coach. But maybe there is something to having coaching experience in the bigs. And I'm certainly happy with where we ended up with Alvarez. But yeah, it was an ugly game the other night against Italy. I mean, we just couldn't get anything going. I think we talked about it already, but what are you thinking moving forward? Are you excited about this matchup against Canada tomorrow night? I believe it's Mike Soroka on the bump for them. And
have they announced it? I was going to ask you.
I think it's Logan Webb versus Mike Soroka.
I know it was Logan Webb, but I didn't know it was going for Canada.
In round 2, assuming it goes as chalk, we would be playing the DR, which is going to be a real tough one. And Skeens is in line to pitch that game. So it would be Webb, Skeens, and then McLean, who didn't pitch all that great the other day. Although in the first inning, I was texting my buddies like, this guy is fucking nasty because his stuff is ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, Mike Soroka, a guy I'm definitely familiar with, a guy a guy's name I'm familiar with. I think he pitched for the Nats and the Reds, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't really know. Have you ever seen him pitch?
Soroka? Yeah.
Rookie of the
year. And honestly, Team Canada is pretty good. Or at least they're playing well. They shouldn't match up, obviously, roster-wise, but with us not hitting as well the last game until later in the game, and it seems like Team Canada has been, I mean, they're playing well right now. So I'm a little nervous in general, just because that last game has made me nervous. It's not only did the bats go cold until later on, but I mean, the pitching got their tits ripped. I mean,
yeah. McLean didn't pitch all that well. The guys that came in afterwards didn't play all that well. I did see a tweet earlier. 3 guys have left the USA roster, and 3 guys are now on. I think Tim Hill was one of the guys that got added. I got to look up. I can't remember who tweeted it, but I got to look up the tweet. USA baseball roster moves. But yeah, we have a couple guys out, a couple guys in. Most of them are bullpen arms, except for Skubal. Here it is. Skubal, Michael Waka, and Ryan Yarborough will report back to spring training with their teams. Will Vest, Tyler Rogers, and Tim Hill have been added to the Team USA roster. Tim Hill, kind of a weird lefty that pitches for the Yankees. You've probably seen him as an Oriole fan a couple of times over the last couple of years. Tyler Rogers is a submarine guy. He pitched for the Giants for quite a while and is now pitching for the Blue Jays. Another guy you've probably seen quite a bit of. And then Matthew Boyd, it looks like, is expected to return to Cubs camp as well. We need to add one more starter. It looks like Joe Ryan is going to be the guy that takes that Team USA roster spot. A guy that I thought that he was already on the roster. He would be on the roster. I don't necessarily think that he would get
he got scratched from a start in spring training with back tightness, and then went and got an MRI, and I think everything was good. So
okay,
that's probably why. I'm actually surprised he's going to be still coming. So
Chuck, is this for the quarters too, or just the semis? Because I know in the WBC the pitch limit is 65. It's bumped up to 95 in the semis. That's great news if Skeens is willing to pitch that much. I don't know if the Pirates will let him. I don't know if he wants to. Who knows? But he seems like a guy that's kind of all out for Team USA. He didn't really even have his best stuff like we were talking about in his first start, and he still struck out 7 dudes. Some guys to look out for in this USA-Canada matchup. We said Soroka, he's going to be the starting pitcher. They also have Jamison Taillon, Kyle Quantrill, Logan Allen, some other guys you probably heard of. Bo Naylor, Josh's little brother. Josh Naylor also on this team. Orioles' favorite, Tyler O'Neill, is in the outfield starting for this team. And they got Justin Morneau as their hitting coach.
I think the center fielder is also like the Naylor's cousin.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I didn't know that. That's cool.
So they have
they got all kinds of Naylors.
Ton of talent.
They got a ton of Naylors. And then Russell Martin is their first base coach. Their third base coach's name is Stubby Clapp.
Nice. That's definitely my name next week.
Stubby Clapp with 2 P's. That's a name. 80 pitches in the quarterfinal round. Okay. All right. I like that. It seems like our starting pitching is probably a little bit more consistent than our bullpen. Although Mason Miller looked really, really good the other night. I think that was the first time he pitched, right? In this classic, or did he pitch an inning a couple of weeks ago?
I don't remember.
I can't remember either. Also, Whitlock's still there. I think he's pretty good as well. 2099, but BBC, the Holiday Brothers, and Matt as manager. Yeah. Did you see that Jackson actually came out and said that him and his little brother Ethan both got invites to go play for Team Italy because apparently they have Italian heritage. They both turned it down. I think they would both want to play for Team USA when they're a little bit older. That's really cool. I like that.
I think Pete Alonso was invited as well.
To Italian.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Because he didn't get called this time for Team USA.
Wonder where he would have even played because the Pasquatch is the freaking best player in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vinny Pasquantino, a guy that I've always really liked, and I actually like a couple of the guys on that Royals team, even though they almost destroyed our hopes and dreams the other day. The Terps lost yesterday to Iowa in the second round of the Big Ten tournament.
And that'll do it.
That'll do it for the Terps. Will that do it for Buzz Williams? No, probably not. But a lot of Terps fans lamenting lambasting, I guess, what Buzz Williams was able to do with the team this year. Not all that good. Give him a couple years, I guess. I
mean, he was also late to the party too for portal guys. So yeah, give him I expect next year to be much better, and if it's not, then you can start talking about it.
Yeah. Orioles news. I wanted to talk about Mountcastle. Yesterday, Mountcastle took a pitch off the hand in the game against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he left. He wanted to stay in the game, but his hand was sore. We're not really sure what this is going to mean. Hopefully there's no lingering issues. Just wanted to mention it. He's a guy who's probably not going to be playing as much as we're used to seeing him play this year with the signing of Pete Alonso and some other stuff going on. We talked about that at length on this podcast, but just wanted to throw that out there if you're an Oriole fan trying to keep up to date. And anything else out of Oriole spring training that you wanted to mention, Brooks?
Not really.
We talked about it a lot on Tuesday's show. So if you're not really sure, you're not up to date, go check out Tuesday's show. We talk about it a little bit in the middle of the podcast about how Kerstad and Mayo seem to be having pretty good springs along with Blaze and a couple other guys, So, that's pretty much all I have on that.
I got one guy who wants to come in and give us his opinion on something because I just saw. We've talked about this ad nauseum already in this podcast, but I just saw the Raiders put out that they are not looking to trade him anymore. So
wow, okay, they actually said that.
Bring in our resident Raiders fan to talk about what he thinks about this situation.
Yeah, so I don't want to, like we said earlier on the pod, we're beating the dead horse. Like the horse is dead, and we're just keep beating the damn thing. But I listen to a lot of Raiders podcasts, and then looking at their social media and everything, and like different groups. Everyone's basically on the same page. It looks everything that happened looked very, very sketchy. It looked like Ravens negotiated in bad faith. But you just can't. It is what it is. We're gonna keep saying this until the season starts. So nothing. There's no truths that are going to be coming out. So it is what it is at this point. I'm slowly getting over it because I was very excited for the way the Raiders handled that first day of free agency. Like even like the experts on the NFL Network and ESPN, they never give the Raiders an A grade in free agency. In my lifetime, I don't think they've ever received an A. And damn it, we did it this year. We made the right moves. I don't care about overpaying people. I said, fuck it. Like we gotta switch things up. We're not winning doing the old way. So let's do something new. Let's pay everyone what they want. Get the right people in. We're gonna have 4 first-round picks over the next 2 years. And we kind of parted ways with Maxx Crosby. He did his little 10-minute goodbye on social media, and Raider Nation, as we call ourselves, was like, hey, thanks. Good luck. Win a Super Bowl. Good for you. And then now he's back, and now it just screws everything up. The picks are gone. We still have our free agents, but we were actually rebuilding the right way. I like the coach. I like the coach hire. Everything just looked perfect for once in my lifetime. So.
I'll be honest with you. I'd be kind of pumped that Maxx Crosby's back.
But if I were you, I'd be amped.
No. So I was getting that on the other side of things with Maxx coming out last night saying like, hey, this is, God works in mysterious ways. Whatever his post said, like, I'm a Raider for life. I'm back. Let's go run it back. Whatever he said. That kind of got me pumped again. I was like, hell yeah, he's back. And I kept my Crosby shirts and didn't turn those into wash rags.
I feel bad. We were saying in our group chat, we feel bad for all the people who bootlegged a bunch of Ravens Maxx Crosby stuff and were trying to sell it, and now they're stuck with all that shit.
Yeah.
Oh man. Or just a little kid going on to freaking Fanatics and building himself a Maxx Crosby jersey, and then now it's worthless.
Well, dude, there's Raider fans going back to like Mendoza when they won the national championship. Like there's Raider Mendoza's jerseys on like the black market getting sold.
Nice.
I'm like, well, we better fucking draft them, or else you're just wasting money.
I mean, there's no way they don't draft him.
I know. There's no way, especially now. Like it's the whole world knows it's happening. So.
And the entire Raiders
but listen, this is the Raider way. This is the Raider way. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. The entire Raiders organization was there to watch him in the national championship game too.
Yeah. It's clear.
Interesting. What's interesting to me is they gave out all this money in free agency, and they did it thinking that Maxx Crosby was going to be off their books. So did they spend so much money that they're now going to have problems with the cap? Or are they going to be still clearly under it, and they're okay, and they're going to have flexibility?
Yeah, they're still under it by like probably almost 20 million.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so they could have done all the same moves and kept Maxx Crosby in the first place.
Yeah.
But like Maxx, I think Maxx is probably happy now too. Like it was a totally different team when he got traded.
Yeah.
And now he's back, and he's like, "Oh shit, this doesn't look too bad over here."
Yeah, I mean, for real. I mean, they picked up legit linebackers behind him. Nakobe Dean and Quay Walker are very good players. Kwity Paye, good player. I mean, these are legitimate players, and their offense is going to improve with Linderbaum, and Mendoza is going to raise the ceiling immediately. Yeah. I mean, you need to still do some work on the O-line, but I said this on the podcast the other day. Every single year, there's a team that everyone thinks is going to come in last place in their division that ends up being really good and ends up making the playoffs. Why not the Raiders?
Yeah, I mean, our division's tough already, but I think now we can compete. And it's funny. There's some lines going around in the Raider community. Obviously, it's we don't think we're going to win the Super Bowl. Like, we're not fucking delusional. Well, some people are. I'm not. but there's people saying like, hey, if you weren't with us when we were 3-14, don't come crying when we're 6-11. You can't. We don't want you back.
Hell yeah.
So like the goal, like the target is 6 wins, baby. Like let's get back to the 6 wins and then go from there.
The target should be Mendoza stays upright the whole season. That should be
let's not get him hurt. And I would say if we're contending for like the very last playoff spot, somehow, some way, that's a win for a season right there.
Like if you're 8-7 going into the final 2 weeks and you need to win a couple games, like that'd be a great place to be in. Especially like you said in that division, the Chargers are always trying to get better with Herbert, with Jim Harbaugh. The Chiefs have retooled a little bit. They traded McDuffie, got themselves a couple extra first round picks. They're trying to reset again, I guess, a little bit, but Mahomes is going to be back. They're always going to be tough. And then, if Bo Nix doesn't break his ankle, the Broncos are probably in the Super Bowl last year. And they probably put up a little bit more of a fight than New England did.
Everyone's like, well, New England can do it. So the Raiders can do it. I'm like, well, New England wasn't supposed to do that. Like
it was a whole lot of stuff happened in the AFC where New England had a way to get straight to it. But Maxx is back. And that's what's going on. That's what we're rolling with. So, and that's not a bad thing. And especially now that he's definitely going to be pissed off.
Yeah. He's the last person you want with a chip on his shoulder.
I mean, he's already plays like 110%, and he plays every single down, never wants to come off the field. Like, that's not a guy you want to give extra motivation to.
And he wanted to finish the season playing with a torn meniscus. We're like, dude, just get it fixed.
Cleaning out his locker and telling the GM to fuck off because they don't want him to play. They want him to go get surgery. I love it.
I mean, you gotta love that, but then you're also like, man, you gotta protect him from himself a little bit.
Yeah, but I think like with his condition, I know he failed his physical. I'm not surprised because he's not fully healed, but I actually believe his agent, he's the one that came out and said he's actually ahead of schedule. He's recovering perfectly. Dude was on Instagram dunking in basketballs. Like he's moving around fine. So that's a good indication that, hey, he still has some pop in his leg and he's not even fully recovered. He'll be back and he'll be fine. I'm pretty confident, unless he gets injured again, that's a different story. But if he doesn't, I think he's going to come back just as strong as he did before.
Do you think that the reason the Raiders have made the decision to keep him is based on the fact that they're not going to get the packages that they're not going to get near the package that they originally thought they were going to get? Or do you think it's, hey, we think we're a little bit better now. Maybe we can actually compete with this team. What do we think? Do we think it's a little bit of both maybe?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think yesterday it absolutely was, we're screwed because now this puts, this doesn't make him look as marketable as he was. And no teams are coming back and giving 2 first rounds, which sucks because if this didn't happen, then, any team would have paid or done what the Ravens did, I feel like. But yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. And now I think the Raiders, they're just coming to it. Hopefully it's mutual, right? We're hearing that he's going to stay, but nothing's official till it's done. But yeah, I think they're just realizing that they got a solid team and let's see what we can do this year.
Yeah. I mean, look, man, I've said it already. I like what you guys did. I think you guys are going to be pretty decent. I think you're going to be,
dude. And I haven't heard those words said from a non-Raider fan in 20 years.
Since Rich Gannon was slinging the ball for you
23 years. Yeah.
You mean Derek Carr almost won an MVP there?
That's true. That is actually factual. I forgot about that. Amari Cooper, man. Cleveland Farrell. Remember him?
Farrell, yeah.
Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice. Oh, man. Nambi Asamoah. Anyway, we're not going to stop naming random Raiders. You guys have any other – do you want to talk about anything else, Randy, football-wise? Do you have any thoughts on the Daniel Jones $100 million contract? You live in Indy.
I think it's silly. I mean, I'm not a Colts fan. So I have no feelings towards it other than like, that was stupid. And dude, Chris Ballard, he is, I don't know what, like, who's he's sucking off.
On water, dude. He walks on water. The guy's never going to lose his job.
I don't know if you guys saw my comment before, but they needed to get Arch Manning. That would be like the perfect story for them. And Ballard then keeps another job, no matter how that goes, if Arch is good or bad in the NFL. Just because Ballard got him on the team, job security for the rest of his life.
Maybe they still can. Daniel Jones stinks.
Well, that's true. They could still be really bad.
Yeah, like I don't know, but and he's not going to play at the beginning of the year. And they already said they gave Anthony Richardson and his agent room to look for a trade. So they don't want him back. So who's going to start games for them if Daniel Jones isn't ready to start the year? That's what I'm also interested in.
Oh, I just thought they were just going to roll with Riley Leonard. Isn't he still there?
He's probably, yeah, he's on his rookie deal. So
yuck.
They brought in Phil Rivers.
I'm thinking they want to be bad so they can get Arch Manning. That would be every Colts fan's dream.
Yeah. What dream?
I think every NFL fan's dream that doesn't have a quarterback right now is to get Arch Manning. Probably. All I hear
Colts fans saying is all I want is Arch Manning and Marvin Harrison Jr. on the same team.
Come on, that would be awesome. But I don't think it might happen in Arizona because that team's not going to be good. Gardner Minshew signed a 1-year deal. He might be the starter there. I'm not sure.
Gardner will find a way to win you 5 games.
Gardner, former Raiders great. What was your
former Raiders great?
Yeah.
That was not a fun season. I mean, no season is fun, but I had no hope in that going well.
What's Jimmy Garoppolo doing these days?
Jimmy G, another flop. Man, we can just go down the list of all these shitty quarterbacks we've had since Derek Carr.
I was going to say,
and I gave Derek Carr so much. I gave Derek Carr so much shit when, like, towards like the last 3 or 4 seasons. I'm like, dude, all you do is get us 8-8 at best. That's all you do. You can't, you make the playoffs once, you lose. I know he broke his leg, kind of changed him after that, but I gave him so much shit. I was like, you're not the guy, leave. And then since then, I'm like, I'm sorry, Derek Carr, for speaking so bad of you. I wish I had you back.
Baby, come back.
I miss when we had a chance to make the playoffs. That was so awesome. People always say that. I'd rather be horrible or be really good. And it's just like, yeah, but try being horrible for like 10 straight years. Then you're praying for 8 wins. Who gives a shit about the draft pick, right? Let's talk about the Players Championship a little bit. Randy likes golf a little bit. The Players Championship kicked off this morning. We had a little bit of a weather delay, but we are back golfing again. The early leader right now is Maverick McNeely at 5 under through 14. Right behind him is Tommy Fleetwood and Victor Hovland. Right on his tail at 3 under. And Tony Finau, Justin Thomas, and Ludwig Oberg are behind him as well. Max Homa, I think, was the first guy who teed off today, and he made an hole-out eagle on the first hole from like 200, like 180 yards or something like that. Got to be a good way to start your Players Championship. I watched Scotty.
Still finished 1 under.
Yeah. So he went eagle, birdie, double, par, bogey, and he was even par through 5. So he scored basically everything that you can score as a professional golfer in 5 holes. But I watched Scotty's first 9-ish holes today before we got on the pod before the delay, and they said it on the broadcast, and I'll say it again here. I cannot believe he was 1 under par. How bad he was hitting the ball. I've never, ever, ever, ever in my life seen Scotty Scheffler hit the ball that bad. He was blocking his tee shots 50 yards right.
What's going on with the guy?
7 holes in a row. I don't know.
It's
and
weird.
One of them, he was on like another tee box. He had to hit it over. This tree was, it couldn't have been more than 15 feet in front of him. And he had like 140 yards of the hole. He put it to 20 feet and made birdie. It's ridiculous, but he's fighting. There's clearly something wrong with his golf swing, and he's even par right now. He's T18. He's right in it, and he's playing horribly. But he's by far the odds-on favorite to win every tournament he plays. I don't think he's finished outside of the top 20 in like a year and a half. And he probably won't here, but it's some sort of weird disarray with his golf swing. And I don't like it this close to Augusta for him.
Yeah, it's so weird seeing like what he did last year and then seeing him just struggle. But the funny thing, but the crazy thing is this is his struggle. Top 10s are his struggle. Top 20s are his struggle.
I know.
But yeah, I don't know what's going on with this swing. I think there was a couple tournaments ago they showed him on the range. He totally like hosel rocketed off an iron, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah,
you were just dominating everyone. Just
Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah, and honestly, going back to the Ryder Cup, he didn't really play that well, surprisingly. I feel like it kind of started there, and haven't really seen the same Scotty since then.
Yeah, it's
played with Bob Does Sports, and then everything came unraveled.
There you go. Maybe FP beat him on a hole or something.
Yeah,
rattled him.
The story coming into the Players Championship was that defending champion Rory McIlroy tweaked his back last week and had to withdraw, and was kind of a game time decision. He still hasn't teed off yet today. He's still saying he's a game time decision. He's supposed to tee off at 2:10. So we got a little over 50 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever, till he tees off. So we're going to find out. I would say if he gets through the first round, you're probably safe. He's probably going to play the whole tournament, but don't be shocked if he plays a couple holes and his back's not feeling up to it and he just WDs. We saw this morning on hole 2, a lot of people's picks to win. I think the second favorite behind Scotty, Colin Morikawa, with no prior injuries. He's been playing the best golf, some of the best golf of his career, at least the best golf he's played in several years. He gets onto the second tee box, takes a swing, grabs his back, and he withdrew on hole 2. And people on Colin Morikawa. And people on Twitter are not happy about it because he was, I think, used in 40% of DraftKings fantasy lineups, and they are not refunding any of those.
I thought that
lineups
should be a refund. Hole 2?
Because he played a hole. If he would have withdrew before the tournament, then he doesn't count, but he played one hole. And people on Twitter are having a field day about that. There's nothing you can do. But also, I see DraftKings. If you bet on somebody, you're betting on somebody knowing that they could get hurt, right?
Well, I know a bet's a bet, but I know like sometimes like in the NBA, like if a player gets injured in the first like 5 minutes or something, they'll refund. I feel like that's the same thing. Like hole 2 out of 72 holes.
A lot of people mad about that.
Yeah, that sucks for them.
But it sucks for Colin Morikawa specifically because he won at Pebble a couple weeks ago. He's been playing really, really well the last few weeks, and it looked like he was getting back into form. Coming into major season, maybe could potentially add his first Players Championship under his belt, and I'm sure he's incredibly frustrated that he's not able to tee it up for the rest of this tournament as well as he's been playing. But we've got a good top of the leaderboard. Russell Henley just made a birdie, so he's up there tied with Fleetwood and Hovland. He's a guy who's always around the hoop as well, and a guy who contended to win this tournament last year. Top 5, Tony Finau. Don't know what happened to him, but he was 5 under through like 8 holes. Now he's -2. He made 4 straight bogeys. Still -2. Can you imagine making 4 straight bogeys and still being tied for 5th? And then Justin Thomas, who was cut last week after shooting, I think 14 over in his first 2 rounds in his first tournament back from wrist surgery. He's having a good day. He's -2. Through 14 holes, and he looks pretty good. I was watching him earlier. He's playing with Scotty, so I was watching him hit the ball around a little bit, and his swing looks good. He's hitting the ball hard, so it seems like the wrist is better. Koepka's playing, Cantlay's playing. A lot of guys still teeing off, so stuff to watch here a little bit later in the day. As far as picks, a guy I really like coming into the tournament, Jake Knapp. He's +1 right now through 13, but just a guy who's probably got the smoothest golf swing since Freddie Couples, and has been on an absolute tear this year. I think I said on the podcast the other day, I don't think he's come outside of 11th place in any tournament this year. He's just been all around it. He's been hitting the ball incredibly well, and specifically this course rewards tee to green. You play tee to green with your ball striking, and Jake Knapp is number 1 on tour this year from tee to green. So you can get him right now at 100-1 to win, or you can get him at well over 2-1 probably for a top 10. A guy I like. there's a little dusty bets for you. So the Players Championship, we are in golf season, and we got March Madness coming up. This is the best time of the year. March Madness, opening day, WrestleMania, Masters. We got all kinds of stuff.
Patios open, outdoor drinking.
Patios are starting to open. Not today. It's 43.
Not today. Not today.
It was
end of the month.
65 and sunny this morning at 8 a.m. And right now it is 35 degrees and it's supposed to snow tonight.
That was our day yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're doing today what you did yesterday.
Yeah.
And it is.
It
rained.
rained.
It's 40 mile an hour winds out. I had to take my flag down. I had to flip my patio furniture.
Oh,
So it
no,
didn't
not the
blow away.
flag.
But yeah, dude, it's ugly in Ocean City today. But we've got Patty's Day weekend coming. Patty's Day is not till Tuesday, but in Ocean City, Patty's Day is the Saturday before the 17th. So St. Patrick's Day, for all intents and purposes, for me, is in 2 days. One of the busiest bar days of the year. So gonna get our asses kicked, hopefully, a little bit. And it should be a good weekend. What do you guys have planned coming up? Anything
Nothing.
fun?
I got nothing.
Literally nothing. Just gonna sit there.
Yeah. I might.
Just right there in that chair.
Shit, I might change my clothes. But
Arkansas,
I don't have anything planned.
82 degrees yesterday, 55 today. Looks like it's happening to the whole world, huh?
82 though. That was hot. Damn.
Yeah. I mean, Arkansas, man, gets hot down there. Like I said, they had a weather delay in Florida. They're playing in Ponte Vedra, which I think is the northeast side of Florida, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it looks like the whole country's going through that. Randy, you got anything planned this weekend? You doing anything fun?
I might try to venture out Saturday, get a couple green beers down at the local lakeside restaurant.
Hell yeah. Love that.
Live
Lakeside
music.
restaurants. Man.
Yeah.
I might try. We'll see.
Yeah. Hopefully this weather passes, and it's supposed to be nice this weekend, but whenever St. Patty's is bad weather, it's usually for the worst, because that just makes people drink even more. And more than they already would on the biggest drinking day of the year.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any other stuff you guys want to talk about before we wrap up here? I think we pretty much hit everything I wanted to hit.
Nope. All good. I'm hungry.
Brooks is hungry. We're going to go let him eat. Randy, thanks for joining, our resident Raiders fan. We love you. Sorry about the Maxx Crosby trade. I'm probably more sorry about it than you are, because I think that Maxx Crosby is a head and shoulders better than Trey Hendrickson. But we got a guy.
Both would have been cool. Both
would have been cool. I don't think that was ever really on the table, like I said, but maybe. Who knows? Anyway, guys, have a great weekend. Be safe. If you're enjoying your green beers this weekend, don't have too many, or do. Just have fun while you're doing it. And then stay safe, have fun, be good to each other.
Stay upright. Don't fall asleep on any bars. Or do. I don't know. I'm not hurting anybody.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not trying to fight anybody other than myself trying to fall asleep. Oh man.
All right. See you guys.
All right, guys. We love y'all.